Hey guys, NerdSpire here, back with another video here to talk about Captain America Brave New World. Now, I know we are all very worried, mostly because of the reshoots the movie had before the release, but after seeing it last night, I can successfully say it was entertaining. It had character growth, made me like Sam Wilson vastly more than Falcon and the Winter Soldier ever did, and brought some awesome villains back that many expected, but regardless, it was great to see. My first half of the video will be spoiler free, just to talk about the movie and what it did right, emphasizing the direction Marvel is taking, and the second half of the video will have spoilers, so if you want to avoid that, just watch until this time presented on the screen. Without further ado, let's get into it. Captain America Brave New World features Sam Wilson and Thaddeus Ross, two decently developed characters that have been in the Marvel Universe for quite some time, but this movie really brings out what we wanted to see with both characters. Sam's development into fitting the role that Steve Rogers left behind is still a large part of the movie, and a major theme in the plot, which in my humble opinion Marvel has been severely lacking in the last few projects. Plot. Thaddeus Ross, as we all see from the trailers, has become president and is having to deal with a lot of problems that were left for him to clean up from the last administration during the war with Thanos. Because the Hulk Hunter is seen as temperamental and quick to rush into things without consideration of others. Ross is desperately trying to repeal this part of the past, which is brilliantly presented by Harrison Ford. I know this may be controversial, but this may be one of my favorite roles I've ever seen him play. He really nailed the emotion and vulnerability of a man who feels so alone, constantly having to pretend to be strong for others. I can't even imagine this kind of pressure. Another character that is well developed is Joaquin Torres, a quick-witted and energetic replacement for the Falcon character, bringing a necessary youth and energy to the character that we have previously never really seen. He is desperate to prove himself and becomes who he feels he is destined to be, and of course, like any hero, must face his shortcomings. I feel this was really necessary to show because, especially with characters like Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, we don't really get to see flaws in characters. We don't get to see progression of the story in a fulfilling and relatable way, and that makes stories feel clunky and repetitive. Long gone are the days where we want to see perfectly clear good and evil characters. We want to see well-developed, thought-out characters. On to another point that I feel I should address. As we all know, Marvel and Disney have a huge problem with pushing agenda on audiences. And while they are nowhere near as bad as IPs like The Boys, which I'll be discussing in another video coming up soon, it's clear they are very well aware that fans are kind of sick of it. This movie, especially considering it talks about government, power structures, and the president, does a great job of avoiding pushing this agenda that we really expected to see in the film. In the last few days, I've seen a lot of hate on this movie, and to be honest, I'm having a hard time seeing where the issues are. Like, did we watch the same movie? Alright, on to the spoiler section. So if you don't want spoilers, make sure to go check out some of my other content, and subscribe if you haven't already. Captain America starts off quick, showing some really cool speed feats, being clearly way faster than F-16s flying around, and showing the vibranium wings gifted him by the Wakandans in full display, which are essential to the story, especially later on. A group called the Serpents are trying to sell adamantium to an unknown buyer, who we later figure out is the leader, and Captain America successfully saves the hostages and neutralizes the immediate threats. We get to see some clearly refined skills Sam has been working on after the show Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The choreography, especially when it comes down to hand-to-hand combat, was pretty good in this movie. There was a few scenes that felt a little unrealistic, like when fighting in the Echo 1 base and he kicks a guy that he can't really see, but to be honest, that's nothing out of the ordinary for a Marvel film. The world is trying to claim adamantium for itself, and Ross finds himself at the front of the deal of a millennium, trying to make a deal with India, France, and Japan to control parts of the adamantium, but this leads to multiple assassination attempts on Ross's life, and a growing lack of trust between Captain America and Ross, seemingly a running theme in these movies. Captain America sees his friend Isaiah Bradley imprisoned, a man unfairly imprisoned for over 30 years already, and is desperate to prove his friend's innocence. We see later on Falcon figuring out clues as to what could have happened, including flashes of light and specific sound clues to trigger a mind control response and follow the leader's commands. This leads to a global struggle of fear and instability, and Japan pulls out of the deal with America, believing there is corruption, and that the US has interest in the adamantium for reasons that have not been truthful yet. Without literally rereading the entire movie to you, this plot drives Ross into a violent outburst because of the gamma ray infused pills the leader has been giving him, turning him into the Red Hulk, seemingly an unstoppable force, only taken down by sheer luck as well as a lot of skill. After the fight concludes, barely walking, Sam convinces Ross to back down after a catastrophic blow of force absorbed by his vibranium wings. Ross remembers what he is fighting for and calms down, only to be immediately taken into medical care and placed in the raft. This movie's goal was to show Sam becoming Captain America, and even if he doesn't believe he fits in the shoes yet, I'd say he's getting there. Yes, he can't wield Mjolnir, but he can carry that shield pretty well and knows how to use it for more than just a fight, but also as a symbol. This movie achieves its goal, was entertaining to watch, and minus a few badly timed jokes, it was pretty solid. For a Marvel project I've seen in the past 5 years, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. In terms of the whole cinematic universe, probably a solid 7.5. Before I end the video, I want to argue with some points that people have brought up about why the movie's bad. I saw someone saying yesterday that the movie had many half-baked plot points, bringing up in particular the new Avengers, and how the idea was introduced by Ross to Sam, saying that America needs the Avengers, saying it's a half-baked plot point suggests that it should have been resolved. Are you really suggesting that in the movie's runtime of 1 hour and 58 minutes, the Avengers should have been reformed, especially with the Thunderbolts movie coming out so soon? It seems both illogical and unfair to say that plot point is half-baked when it's in a universe of movies that will connect and build off of those ideas. I'd agree if this was a few years down the line and they never did anything with those plot points, but to say it's half-baked for one movie to not reform the Avengers, that seems a little unrealistic, no? Regardless, if you guys disagree with my take, I'd love to hear why in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe for more content, and God bless y'all. Bye-bye, y'all.